What is up, team? This is GVM-uk, and today we're going to talk about X4 and, more importantly, about the presentation that they gave last week about X4. So far, quite impressed. From what I can see, it looks like they've gone all out on trying to make these stations really feel alive. Big docking platforms, NPCs walking around, ships actually landing and docking, which is just awesome. But I hope that on the docking platforms that there are actually NPC ships docking and taking off and stuff whilst you're on the platform. It's not just your ships that you see docking and stuff, because that'd be cool if you could actually see, you know, other traders and that docking on the platforms. That'd be really nice. Hope that's part of it. I've got a feeling it's not, but you know, one can hope. You know, you've got your first ship, you dock on this platform to do some trading or pick up some missions, and you're seeing all these other ships dock around you, and you're like, oh, that's a nice ship, that's a nice ship, oh, I could aim for that. You know, when you're on the platform and you're walking around these huge freighters or fighters or, well, you know, corvettes, whatever can dock on these platforms, you know, you get a real sense of how huge they are. You know, you're walking up to the ramp on these platforms from the ship, and just, you know, you actually get a sense of scale of how big this ship you're flying actually is. So I'm super glad that they're keeping the docking, that they have improved it. It looks like it's, you know, a nice large platform. You can see what's going on around you. You can, you know, see these ships flying over. You know, we're not constrained to these boring corridors anymore. We're open. We can see what's going on above us. You know, if a big capital ship flies past, you know, you'd be able to see that. The different sectors that you're in, you know, you'll see the different backgrounds, planets, etc. So not only does it save on the assets on having to create different kinds of stations if you're doing corridors or interiors, if you open it up like this, the sector does it all for you anyway, which is already there. You know, a different vista on every station, basically. A different way of life, a different visual, and, you know, the artists don't have to spend time remaking or designing new interiors. They can concentrate on, you know, the ships and the exterior of the stations rather than interiors. So super glad about that, really excited. But most importantly, they seem to have made the factions a lot more dynamic, as in, you know, they're assessing the world around them. They're seeing what needs to be built, what needs to be destroyed, who's in their way. You know, excellent. X Rebirth was very, you know, a lot of people called it X Stillbirth. Yeah, it basically, the factions were stagnant. They just, you attacked them, and not much, you know, not much consequences for, you know, apart from a bad reputation. They didn't really do much about it. They just didn't like you. So you could destroy an entire station. They would just turn red to you. If you went near them, they might attack you, but they wouldn't go out their way to attack you. They wouldn't say, okay, this guy's attacked us. He has a station over in this sector. Let's go and repay the favor and destroy his station. You know, so a war ensues against faction versus player or faction versus faction. And from what I can tell, it looks like maybe not to that extent, but it looks like they're a lot more dynamic. They're a lot more, you know, assessing what needs to be done, who's in their way, and, you know, what can be done about it. So hopefully we can have true faction wars, dynamic faction wars against other factions, faction on faction, and faction versus player. So maybe the player could ally itself with one of the warring factions if it, you know, if it's in the player's interest. But super glad that they're making the factions a lot more dynamic, because it really needs it. There's no point in having a huge open sandbox game with all these factions and ships and war fleets if they're not going to use them or utilize them. So definitely really glad that they're looking into making the factions a lot more dynamic. Another most notable point is the way you control your empire now via the map. The map seems a lot more user friendly, and the way that you control your empire via the map just seems very intuitive. As in, you're clicking on things on the map and getting a context menu of what you can do with that object. So you have a ship, you right click on the ship maybe, and you get a context menu of options that you can have for that ship. So rather than being separated from your ship by going into a completely separate menu that doesn't show the map, all you see is the ship name. Like in X Rebirth, you see the ship name, and you know, you give it orders via this menu that's completely separate from the map. Bringing it all into the map is an excellent idea. RTS games use it. Homeworld used it. That was done right, and it seems that Eaglesoft are taking this route of, you know, let's just consolidate our empire management into the map, and makes it a whole lot easier to manage your vast war fleets or trading fleets, or, you know, whatever kind of bloody fleet you have. I'm personally going to have a huge war armada and just rampage the universe, but that's me. Also, I'm very much liking the modular stations. I know they was modular in Rebirth, but you didn't really have any input on how the station looked. It was in sections, and you just build it by section. But in X4, it looks like you can actually design your own stations to an extent by using modules that you can move around and clip to other modules. So it really brings us as personalization into you know, building a station and how you want it and how you want it laid out. So you want your docking platform to be at the very top of the station to make it easier, or you can make it difficult for people and put it right in the bottom. I don't know, but if you would like to do that, it just cause you more problems than anything good out of that. But yeah, definitely that looks kind of interesting. Also, they did note that you can have custom player symbols on your ship, so you can design your own kind of faction sigil kind of thing, which is really awesome. So you could have a, you know, a House Stark. You could be the, you know, House Stark in space, basically. That'd be kind of awesome. But yeah, definitely that looks kind of interesting. You know, something so simple as you know, putting a sign, a custom symbol on your ships that the player can design and upload. Well, not, you know, not sure you upload it, but, you know, bring into the games. That's kind of interesting. And that's what it's all about. It's all about, people love personalization. They like feeling something is theirs. So when they start making things that you can design your own stations, you can put your own you know, signs on the ships to make them feel more yours rather than more generic. You know, people absolutely love it, and I love it too. And it gives you a sense of, it's mine, that ship is mine, that station is mine because I designed it. And it gives a more sense of accomplishment. You know, I love it. A lot of people do, and I think it's going to go down very well with the player base. So far, from what I can see from the ship designs, they've kind of drifted away from what the ships looked very industrial, very military in X Rebirth. I did love the designs in X Rebirth, the ship designs, but it seems they've gone back towards more X3 and X Albion Prelude kind of designs, where they're a bit more curvy, a bit more compact. You know, they're not these long thin ships that capital ships that you got in X Rebirth, like the Rahanus or the Tyrannus. You know, the Tyrannus is my favorite ship of all time. I hope the Arwen is in there. I love that. That's my favorite ship of all time, mainly because it resembles Battlestar Galactica, but we won't get into that now. But, you know, seeing little ships dock on your freighter, you know, when you have fighters actually docking on your M-class ship, that just looks absolutely amazing. Very excited about that. Also, I'm really glad they're keeping the cockpits and the bridges. The capital ship bridge looks actually nice. And the fact that you have the NPCs walking around the bridge whilst the ship is doing its thing, you know, really makes it feel alive. And I really think that in this game, they're really trying to make the universe feel more alive, even more so than X Rebirth. Because in X Rebirth, you had NPCs, you had mass traffic, you know, you had a lot of life buzzing around the stations. But inside the stations, it's kind of static. You know, NPCs wouldn't really move around too much. But having NPCs moving around your cockpits or your bridge of your capital ship really does give a sense of immersion. And when you actually go out hiring these NPCs to work on your ships, and you actually seeing them walk around them, around the bridge, you know, it just makes you, you know, I hired him. He's a good pilot or good engineer, and you're actually seeing him do his thing around the ship. Really awesome. Really glad they're going all out on this game. Also, it seems that they're bringing a lot more colour into the game, and they're bringing a lot more oranges and greens, and a lot less saturated colours, a lot less blacks and greys, and a bit more vibrancy into the X universe. So that's pretty cool. I was really impressed with Marcus's planet shader as well. The fact that you can change the look of an entire planet with a few sliders, and you can make a planet look barren. You can make a planet look a water world, populated, unpopulated. Just on a touch of a slider. It saves on artist time having to recreate textures for all the different kinds of planets that are in the game. So it saves a lot of time. Excellent idea. Well done. So far, not much has been said on the combat. I hope it's kind of similar to X Rebirth, because the ship combat in X Rebirth was pretty good. The capital ship combat in X Rebirth was really good. I did like that. Apart from the fact that they danced around each other, there was no such thing as long range combat in X Rebirth. It was all, let's get the capital ships on top of each other and have them dance around each other, and use every weapon available. So hopefully there's a bit more, bit more tactics in X4 rather than just let's get as close as we can and unleash hell onto this other ship. Hopefully the capital ships have a bit more longer range weapons than they did in X Rebirth, but we'll wait and see. Hopefully the combat is a little better. I didn't mind it in X Rebirth. I just didn't like the ballet of ships on top of each other. It kind of caused issues. They would, ram each other, hit each other, and things would go wrong. Especially in X3, that was when ships collided in X3, they kind of blew up. So hopefully we don't see any of that in X4, because that was kind of annoying watching a ship, dancing around this other capital, and then accidentally hit it and then exploding in front of your face. Kind of disappointing when you put 100 million credits into that ship. So to round up, quite impressed from what I've seen so far. It looks really nice. I'm really glad they kept the docking, and it looks like they've improved the docking tremendously. Really glad that they've implemented controlling your empire via the map. Excellent stuff. Everyone really asked for it, better control of your empire, and it looks like they have delivered. The game itself looks like X Rebirth was the foundation, and now they're really building on X4 from what they learnt on X Rebirth. So really glad to see that it's this far into production, and it seems like they've got a good solid ground for really making a really beautiful, living, organic, dynamic universe. So well done, Eagersoft. Really glad that you're going full tilt on this, and really looking forward to seeing what else you have in store for us. So anyway, this has been GVM-uk. I hope you enjoyed it. Have you got any thoughts on X4? Are you still in the camp of I'm not touching that Eagersoft game again, or are you looking forward to X4? Let me know. What did you like from the presentation? What do you hope to see? I'd be very interested to hear. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you later.